Please rise for the faculty procession.
Rise for the faculty procession. Bagpipers can go. Welcome to the Chicago Booth Diploma Ceremony of the 534th Convocation of the University of Chicago. We're delighted you can be here to celebrate the achievement of these men and women who will be graduating today. Please be seated.
Good morning. I'm delighted to welcome each of you to this recognition of scholarship and celebration of personal achievement. Class of 2021, today is your day. It's a day for celebrating accomplishment, of course, but it's also a day to show appreciation, to reaffirm aspirations, and to reflect on the school and its unique community that embodies these values. The personal achievement of our students is predicated not only on their hard work, but also on the support of their classmates, families, friends, and colleagues. To all of you who are here today, and to all those who could not be here, I thank you for the sacrifices you have made to support these students. I would like to add my thanks to the deputy deans, faculty, and staff for teaching and supporting another successful group of Booth graduates. I also would like to thank our faculty speaker, Austin Goolsbee, the Robert Gwynn Professor of Economics, and our guest speaker, Penny Pritzker, founder and chairman of PSP Partners, for being here today to share their thoughts and advice. Finally, I would like to thank our graduating students. You have been exemplary members of the Booth community, both academically and socially. Maybe not so much on the second one. All right. Your hard work during the course of this rigorous journey and your resilience, focus, and social purpose during these challenging times have been truly impressive. Your understanding, your flexibility, your suggestions, and your desire to be of service have been particularly meaningful to me. And I've been inspired by the strength and creative spirit of the Booth community in the face of ambiguity and adversity. Thank you for choosing Booth and for contributing so much to our community. Chicago Booth is as dependent upon the participation of its students as it is the scholarship of our faculty. And as dean, I love to brag about the excellence of both groups. But I think the thing that ultimately sets us apart is our unique community, whose culture is based on a set of values that are seen in every action we take, individually and collectively. At Chicago Booth, we believe that to develop and support outstanding individuals as business leaders, we must instill a firm grasp of fundamental knowledge, as well as the thoughtful analysis skills to apply these concepts in the real world. Thus, our mission is twofold: to produce knowledge with enduring impact and to influence and educate current and future leaders. Booth's greatest asset is our world-class faculty, who produce path-breaking ideas with global impact. In the Chicago tradition, this means answering and asking important questions about how the world works so we can understand it better and make better decisions. The development of theories to explain and predict real-world phenomena, the testing of those theories with data, including now big data and using machine-intensive computational methods, as well as the use of these theories to make real-world decisions, is part of what makes Chicago distinctive. Second, we disseminate that knowledge so that it has impact, either by delivering a superior education or by disseminating the knowledge in other ways, such as through books and speaking engagements, school publications, and other channels. Members of our faculty have written some amazing and impactful books in recent years, such as Amir Sufi's House of Debt, Richard Thaler's Nudge, and Nick Epley's Mindwise, to give just a few examples. You were admitted to and now graduate from the best business school in the world. Think about that. Good. Just getting into Booth, let alone flourishing in the program, as you have now done, is a huge achievement. And you're among a very small group that has had this opportunity. This should give you great confidence in your ability to succeed in whatever path you choose. Finally, I encourage you to view your graduation as the beginning rather than the end of this relationship. We want you to be lifelong partners with the school as well as with one another. You now join a community of well over 55,000 Booth alumni worldwide. This community is as strong as you're willing to make it. Those who invest in the network and give back to the school, not only financially, but also through being involved in many other ways, find that this is an immensely rewarding experience. This is not just in terms of financial success and career goals, but also by gaining friends, helping others, and building a community. And the community is broader than Chicago Booth. You're also joining a large and influential UChicago alumni network. For our part, we commit to providing you a rich set of opportunities to continue the relationship with us, and in so doing, enrich your careers and lives. So let me conclude by congratulating all of you on an amazing accomplishment and wishing you all the best in whatever dreams you pursue, knowing that the Chicago Booth community is here to support you. Thank you.
Now, it is my privilege to introduce Professor Austan Goolsbee, who will be offering the convocation address this morning. Mr. Goolsbee, the Robert Gwynn Professor of Economics, has not only been an outstanding academic, but also had held positions of significant responsibility outside academia. He served in Washington as the chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors and a member of the President's Cabinet, and more recently was a member of the Board of Education for the city of Chicago. Before Washington, his research earned him recognition as a Fulbright Scholar and a Sloan Fellow. In 2009, he was voted DC's funniest celebrity. He joined the Chicago Booth faculty in 1995. Please join me in welcoming Professor Austan Goolsbee.
Well, I must say that my childhood dream to come running out of that tunnel in uniform was not what I had in mind today. But I'll take it. Now, you may have noticed, before I go into the content of my address, you may have noticed that the logo for the Bears looks just like the University of Chicago C. And that's not a coincidence, because it turns out that in the 1920s, the University of Chicago was the dominant football power in the United States. We were 6-time Big Ten champion. We won 2 national championships. And on the site of the Regenstein Library, there was a 55,000 seat stadium. And the president of the university in the 1930s decided that there was no future in football, and he banned the team. At the time, the NFL, nobody cared. And so the Bears stole the logo from the University of Chicago, because they said, well, 55,000 people used to go see them play, and only 2,000 people come see what were the Decatur Staleys. They had changed their name to Chicago Bears. So they stole the logo and the motto. The Bears have been known as the monsters of the Midway. The Midway, they never played on the Midway. The Midway runs right through campus. As you know, it's right outside the window of the Harper Center. So they didn't even bother to change it to the Monsters of Soldier Field. No, they're still the monsters of the Midway. And imagine, the theme of my remarks today are going to be what happened, and how are we going to remember it, and how can we use it? What do we predict what would be in the future? Imagine some graduate from Booth in the 1920s. We had been around for 23 years at that point, coming back today and saying, how many national championships have you won in the interim? And you're going to be like, do 93 Nobel Prizes count? Okay, because other than that, 0. And we always have at our graduations one real speaker and one faculty speaker who talks about their research. I'm not making that up. You're like, wait, what? I thought there was conflict. No, that's what we're supposed to do. And I've asked the older faculty, why do we do that? And they say, well, because we're an intellectual place, we want to, be cramming them with information to the last second they get out of there. But I don't think that's why. It's because you're hot, you're overdressed, you're uncomfortable, you're sitting here in judgment from your parents looking right over your shoulder. Welcome back to reality, people. School time is over. Okay, so in 6 minutes that I have remaining, let's go over what the heck just happened and what is it about COVID economics. They asked me to speak because I wrote a couple papers about it. I mean, the first thing to remember is in the month of right before spring break last year, you got here, you're minding your own business, you're having a good time on campus. We have a collapse of the economy faster in 1 month than ever in the history of the United States. The worst year of the Great Depression was 1932. We lost more jobs as a percent of the economy than the entire year 1932. We lost them in 1 month. So there's never been anything like it. It's in different sectors than a recession has ever been in, concentrated in a bunch of things we thought were recession-proof that never go down. So that is why people have been so bad at making forecasts of how fast we're going to come back, of what would be the impact, is because we're basing it on things that no one has any information about. Economists, as they say, have a problem even predicting things that have already happened, so they haven't been great at predicting the future. The one thing that the research shows, kind of surprisingly, is that it wasn't about lockdown. It wasn't about government policy that sent the economy into a tailspin. And my research with another Booth faculty member showed that by comparing what happened in the 503 counties where they share a state border where there were different lockdown policies on this side or that side of the border. If you ever go to the Quad Cities metro area, it's on the border of Iowa and Illinois, and there are two cities on the Illinois side and 2 cities on the Iowa side. Iowa had no lockdown. Illinois had a strict early lockdown, as you know. There was a massive collapse of people going to the barber shop, going to the dentist, etc., on both sides by almost identical amounts. In places where there wasn't lockdown, they still stopped going. People stopped flying on airplanes, not because it was illegal, but because they were afraid. Individual choices influenced by what's the local case rate, what's the local death rate. That fear was the thing that drove the economy down. And that's why when places repealed their lockdowns, you saw a modest rebound. You didn't see anything like the huge comebacks that you would have wanted. And that led to what I call the first rule of virus economics, was that if you want to help the economics, you have to get control of the spread of the virus. Now, as we get control of the spread of the virus, we should ask, well, what does the future hold? And my bias is that the future, anything that happened in the pandemic that accentuates a previous long-standing trend is probably likely to continue, and anything that throws the trend off is unlikely to return. So if you look at personal savings, our savings rate in the United States has been about 5% to 8% for 70, 80 years. It went to 34% because nobody could go out to a store. And so if you ask, are we going to stay at that level, or are we going to go back to the savings rates and spending rates we were before? I think it's overwhelmingly likely we return. And if we do, the boom will be consumer spending led. Online spending was trending upward for a long time before COVID, spiked during COVID. That's probably going to be a lasting change. But the third category of does this mean the death of cities and does this mean we're all going to be able to work from home, I would be a little careful. For 232 years that we have data in the United States, every census of the United States, the urban population share has gone up. It didn't for the last 18 months, and people moved out to small metro areas and rural areas. But the reason why that number rose and rose for 232 consecutive years is because our productivity is higher when we're together, and our pay is higher. And so I am very dubious that something changed about that in the last 18 months. And though you like working from home, know that there is another trend over the last 30 years, which is the increasing concentration of power in the largest companies, simultaneous with the share of national income going to corporate profit being the highest ever, and the share going to the workers being the lowest ever that we have on record. And this divergence between productivity and pay may very well come to pass regarding time. And by that, I mean, in your mind, you're thinking, I used to commute an hour each way, and if I can work from home, I just got 2 hours back of my day. Woohoo! And the problem is, if the company is thinking, that's awesome, there's 2 extra hours of the day that you can be working for us, that still has to be sorted out. What will be what the economists will call the incidence of the savings and productivity enhancements of people not having to commute? And so keep an eye on that. As you look back and say, what are you going to remember about COVID and your business school experience, other than that you graduated on the field of Soldier Field? You might not remember it. Most people can't remember. You're not going to remember anything I said. Name one graduation speaker you ever remember anything they said. I once asked my grandfather lived in Waco, Texas, very hot and humid in Waco, Texas in the summer. And he was a guy that loved to crank the air conditioner up as high as it could go. And I said, Grandpa, how did you live here for 50 years before there was air conditioning? And he looked and he just said, I don't remember. And that might be you. You probably won't remember that you were muted half the time when you were trying to make a comment, that your computer tried to pipe your speaker through your microphone so you couldn't hear what was happening in class. You did your job interviews and your internship interviews online. Your professors that were bald, their heads kind of exploded into the digital background because they didn't have a proper green screen. I'd be happy if you forget that one. But the fact is, you came to work. What I hope you remember is you came. You faced the adverse circumstances. Normally at graduation, the speaker's telling you there are going to be challenges, but you can overcome them. You already had the challenges. You already overcame them. And so I hope you will remember. It's kind of like we had an old dean here who had come from the University of Michigan. He told me there was a fire at the University of Michigan and it burned up the offices of a bunch of the faculty. And some of the faculty had destroyed them. He said they felt like, oh, we lost everything in this fire. But for others, in a way, it liberated them. They were like, okay, it stinks that happened, but now I'm gonna start new things. I'm gonna get it, I've got a new lease on life. And I hope that for you. And there will always be a place for people with brains who are creative, who are willing to work, and that's what you have done. When you come back, we will still, at the University of Chicago, always be the place where brains come to work. The Bears will still probably be terrible. And at your reunion, come back to your reunion because nobody else is going to want to hear about how you went the whole quarter not wearing pants back in the year 2021. It's like my grandma's thing that 80% of the world really doesn't care about your problems, and the other 20% are glad. So just know that as you graduate today, you are joining a family. And your conversion to the dark side will be complete. We'll still be a place where people with brains are sitting in the chair, doing the work, talking to each other, and that is where great ideas come from, and that is where economic growth comes from. And I would close with the advice to be yourself, but for some people, that's about the worst advice you can give. So instead, I will tell you, never give up, never commit the sunk cost fallacy, and never let someone take your logo and motto without just compensation. Now, everyone smile for a Soldier Field selfie here. You guys did it. Congratulations.
At this time, I'd like to introduce the University of Chicago Booth School of Business guest speaker, Penny Pritzker. Ms. Pritzker is an entrepreneur, civic leader, and philanthropist with more than 30 years of experience in numerous industries. She is the founder and chairman of PSP Partners, which takes a long-term, fundamental approach to investing in and building market-leading businesses in sectors including business and technology services, housing, and advanced industries. From 2013 to 2017, Ms. Pritzker served as U.S. Secretary of Commerce and was the country's chief commercial advocate, leading the Obama administration's trade and investment promotion efforts. Ms. Pritzker founded Vi Senior Living and co-founded The Parking Spot, Artemis Real Estate Partners, and Inspired Capital. She is a member of the boards of Microsoft and Icertis, chairman of the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, a member of the Harvard Corporation, Aspen Strategy Group, and Aspen Economic Strategy Group, and a co-chair of the Cyber Readiness Institute. She holds a BA in economics from Harvard and a JD MBA from Stanford. Please welcome Penny Pritzker.
Good morning, faculty, staff, family, friends, and most of all, the class of 2021 at the University of Chicago Booth School of Business. It is such a fantastic honor for me to be here with all of you today to celebrate this momentous occasion, the opening of Chicago. Oh no, I mean your graduation. Thank you to Dean Rajan for not only inviting me here to speak today, but more importantly, for your inspiring words and your terrific stewardship of this extraordinary institution. I also want to thank my very good friend, Austin Goolsbee, for your thoughtful remarks, for your one-of-a-kind sense of humor, and for being voted by the students not only as this year's faculty speaker, but also the one with the finest hair. As someone who also received their MBA, it would be easy to start by telling you that I once sat where you are, but that is not true. The reality is that you have faced unique challenges over the past year that don't look anything like my experience. The fact is that the world has been altered dramatically in the past 16 months. No one could have predicted that when you started your Booth training, that a novel virus would soon envelop the world in a global pandemic. You've been disappointed, experienced isolation, and absorbed tragedy. But there have been silver linings. Connecting with long-lost friends by Zoom, working from a location that's warmer or closer to your loved ones, living in a pod off campus, taking on new hobbies or interests, and having time to reflect and prioritize. Hopefully, one positive from the past year has been having time to develop perspective and determine what and who is really important to you. For me, a person who's a social animal, a traveler, and a planner by nature, closing our firm's office on 8 hours' notice, locking myself at home with my husband, my 28-year-old daughter, her fiance, and their dog, and being a citizen during a time when people were dying from just breathing was otherworldly. Add to that navigating as a business leader during the implosion of demand in certain sectors and the explosion of demand in others, with the stock market diving and credit shrinking. I must confess, I was also consumed with concern for my mother-in-law who lives in a nursing home, my daughter-in-law who is a frontline doctor at the Boston Safety Net Hospital working on a COVID unit, our employees and their families, the essential workers in our neighborhood and throughout our city, and the vast numbers of folks lined up at food banks. I was so certain that nothing was certain, that I'm a world-class sleeper. Just ask my husband, I can sleep through anything. I could not sleep through the night. Like all of you, I was stressed out like never before during those first few months. But then, as things began to stabilize into a new normal, I also recognized that it was time to think and reflect. So I want to share today my big takeaway from the past year of living through the pandemic. What comes to mind is a quote from Heraclitus, the Greek philosopher. He said, "The only constant in life is change. And wow, have we seen change in the past year. So how does a self-described planner like me cope? How does a Booth graduate with big dreams and aspirations navigate the next 40 years? So first, let me begin with a story about a good friend of mine who's actually an adjunct professor here at the Booth School, Mary Idelson. She advised me a few years back when I was facing a much smaller challenge and a much smaller change than you are. I was leaving government in my role as U.S. Commerce Secretary and returning to my business life. I knew that I wanted a different trajectory after my world and my aperture had been so completely broadened by my experience in Washington. But I wasn't sure how I was going to pivot. As I've said, I'm a planner. When I was graduating from business school and law school, I had a plan. Move to Chicago, go into business, hopefully find a mate, and have a few children. Pretty plain vanilla. So when I showed up in 2016 at my friend Mary's house, the Booth professor, with my computer in hand to make my next plan after being in the cabinet, she smiled and she counseled me that I was going to have to take a new approach. I was going to have to go on a discovery journey, to be open every day to a new idea and to embrace the messy. So let me repeat that phrase, embrace the messy. You have no idea how hard that is for me. I'm a bit type A. If you've been to my house, you know what I mean. Everything is in its place. My husband often tells me it looks like nobody lives there. But embracing the messy, being open to the new, the different, and the uncomfortable is a true gift. So let me give you an example. I almost missed the opportunity of a lifetime because I was being planful rather than embracing the messy and taking on a new adventure. It took my husband's encouragement for me in 2006 to join what was then a long-shot presidential campaign for an unknown Senator, Barack Obama. Today, that's really hard to recall, but back then, less than 60% of America even knew who Barack Obama was. That unexplained, unexpected, unplanned opportunity changed my life and eventually gave me the opportunity to serve my country. During my time in DC, I not only saw firsthand the interconnectedness of global business, but I was charged with helping American businesses navigate that situation. I was also charged with making sure that our global agreements did not place American workers at a disadvantage. I was exposed to new opportunities coming from the digital revolution, like autonomous vehicles, as well as the risks, like the possibility of our oil and gas infrastructure being shut down by ransomware. It was exciting and stimulating. My aperture was opened wide. And I was determined when I left government to be in the flow of change, not run over by it. So when I returned to Chicago, I had to reinvent my business and reinvent myself. Since then, I've been pushing myself to learn about technology, serving on the boards of Microsoft and Icertis, founding a technology-focused venture capital firm, and co-founding an organization here in Chicago called P33 that will raise our stature as a global tech city. Leveraging all that knowledge, experience, expertise that I gained from saying yes to Barack Obama in 2006. So my point is, embrace the messy. So being open to opportunity, embracing the messy is a mantra for me, but it is not enough. Over the past year, we've experienced a rapid acceleration in digital adoption and digitization. The power of biotech to discover and disseminate a successful vaccine at a record-setting pace. The advent of place-agnostic work as a norm and a tool. The need for the interconnected world and its supply chain to function seamlessly, to provide things as complex as ventilators and as simple as masks. The recognition that artificial intelligence and the explosion of data will fundamentally alter work and business processes. In fact, all processes, to name just a few of the changes in the past 16 months. And it's clear to me this is just the beginning. These trends will only accelerate. And you have been well prepared to participate in a world that is being turned upside down by innovation. You've received a tremendous education. You're building powerful networks. You have demonstrated that you are flexible and resilient. And your humanity and your empathy have been tested. So make no mistakes. These are among the tools that will be foundational for you to be successful in the 21st century. But getting a graduate degree is no longer enough. I'm sorry to break that to you today and to your families and friends who offered you support during this extraordinary foundational experience called a Booth MBA. During your professional life, you will see the advent of private space travel, perhaps even a person visiting Mars, or the power of quantum computing to cure cancer, or a new technology that will capture carbon and heal our planet. But I implore you to stay abreast of the innovations that are changing the basic assumptions of every aspect of our life. Develop the routine of constant inquiry. Embrace the possible and be a lifelong learner. Because cars will drive themselves in your lifetime, medicine will be individualized, and lifelike holograms will make talking to a fellow Booth student in London or Hong Kong impossibly real, as if they were in the same room. And that'll also make Zoom look like child's play. So your appetite for curiosity must be insatiable. Finally, I know that with all my good fortune, having graduated from the Booth of the West, also known as Stanford, and having had a rich set of professional experiences, that I have derived much satisfaction, received some of life's most valuable insights, and had some of my most memorable moments in my lifetime from not just embracing, but giving back to my community. We're all part of a local, national, and global community. Our lives are interconnected. That is the most fundamental lesson of the past year. Through the global pandemic and the racial justice reckoning that our country is undertaking, following the deaths of George Floyd and so many others, we have learned anew what happens in one community can disperse and impact communities globally. Over the past 16 months, while we saw illness, death, and unparalleled economic strife, we also saw regular people step up as heroes in our communities. Countless numbers of nurses and doctors risking their lives, food pantry volunteers stepping into the breach, and others just showing up to their jobs so that we could live as normally as possible. grocery store clerkers, janitors, teachers, delivery drivers, and so many others. So you, the class of 2021, you pulled together, taking care of one another, especially those far from their families. You will never forget your classmate or faculty member who helped you navigate, or the feeling of belonging that came with reaching out to someone in need. We also saw business leaders come up with solutions at a breakneck speed, creating vaccines in record time, connecting us to work and school and family virtually by adapting new technologies, or stepping up to make sure our society is more equitable. For me, when the pandemic hit, our governor asked me to step up and create a basic relief fund for the state of Illinois. Remember the lines at the food pantries, folks losing their homes, or even mothers not having diapers for their babies? I told you that I was overwhelmed in our business, that I struggled to sleep, but I was deeply moved by the vulnerability of our fellow citizens. So I said yes to starting a needed fund, even though there wasn't a plan, there was no money, and there was no infrastructure. And so did many others who agreed to help. They gave their time, their ingenuity, their money. Whether it was the head of the IOP at the University of Chicago, Gretchen Sims, who volunteered to help me stand up the organization, or the committed group of philanthropic community and business leaders throughout our state. Literally everyone we asked, no matter how hard their personal situation was, they said yes, they jumped in to help without hesitation. In the span of just a few weeks, we raised $31 million because of the generosity of so many in the community. We supported the organizations across our state that were on the front lines assisting families with their most basic needs, distributing food, helping with rent or utilities, providing basic health care, or even essentials like baby formula, diapers, and other things. We wanted to provide not only assistance, but also hope. At a time when the holes in the public safety net made it difficult to meet the staggering human need. Personally, I wanted to help. Frankly, I needed for my own well-being to be of use during a moment of intense crisis. So I embraced the opportunity to create the Illinois COVID Relief Fund. I used the skills I had gained as a business person, the skills, frankly, I learned getting an MBA, to help my fellow citizens in Illinois. Having that purpose, being able to help during a time with so much desperation around us, gave me so much peace. Now it's your turn. You have received a world-class education in business. You will no doubt create jobs, economic opportunity, and innovations that will change our world. But don't forget to apply all that you've learned, from accounting to marketing to strategic planning, to give back to your community. I encourage you to embrace your community, however you define it. I promise you that will be one of the most rewarding aspects of your life in the years ahead. I urge you to identify your community, move forward with intention, and give back to something greater than yourself. Trust me, your life will be more meaningful and richer because of it. So in closing, to all the family and loved ones of the class of 2021, thank you for your support of these incredible young people, as your love, no doubt, sustained them through one of the most difficult periods any of us will ever face. But I hate to say it, your job is not done. Our graduates will need your support, and have your support through the many twists and turns ahead in their careers. To the graduates, take care of your loved ones. You are not here by accident. They helped you navigate and make your luck. So I hope that you will embrace the messy. I hope you will enjoy the rich journey that comes with being a lifelong learner. And I hope you give yourself the opportunity to give back to your community. Your future is both exciting and boundless, and I can't wait to see what you do with it. So to the class of 2021, congratulations.
As we begin the presentation of the graduates, may I call your attention to the Award of Honors listed in the convocation program. While we ask that you also respect the graduates, we understand that your desire to vocalize your joyful responses to hearing your student's name called, doing so distracts from the announcement of the next graduate. Before the congregation of scholars, family, friends, and colleagues here assembled, the Deputy Deans of the University of Chicago Booth School of Business will now present to the Dean the degree recipients of the Master of Business Administration from the full-time program in the University of Chicago Booth School of Business.
Dean Rajan. These students have completed the program of professional studies prescribed by the faculty at the University of Chicago Booth School of Business. The class of 2021 leaves our school stronger for their commitment to the well-being of others and their legacy of innovative programming designed to encourage discourse. We are confident in their ability to go forward and pursue the highest aspirations in their fields. It is with great pleasure and enormous pride that I present these leaders as recipients of the degree of Master of Business Administration.
Adib Aiye. Andres Castañeda Pederzini. Pedro Quintana. Raúl Vergara. Fernando Serrano. Isabel Marco Clement. William Allen Killinger. Michael Hoyos. Vignesh Rao. Hannah Renee Basana. Kirsten Elizabeth Harp. Marielle Elizabeth Wallace. Brian Matthew Green. Zibei Hu. Hinata Miyamoto. Michael Thomas Henry. Amanda Ray Schlegenhoff. Tazri Arya Kadam. Julia Paula Siegel. Teresa Claire Belton. Mihir Kumar. Dharanish Golamudi. Austin Everett Ness. Rishi Shah. Jonathan Douglas Carter. Benjamin Reed Marenberg. Joanna Guth. Hallie Greitzer. Heidi Catherine Schutte. Jenna Dodds, Deanna Wiblithauser, Jessica Cardwell Wood, Lucas Tor Davies, Philip Silva Bras, Ellen Lockwood Cacha, Juan Manuel Garcia, Juliana Pisa Caballero, Nicholas J. Wise, Rachel Davis Harrison, Davida Russ Schwabsky, Edwin William Conrad, Corbin Knutson, Douglas Stephen Lydecker, Jeremy Guy, Lauren Finney Hungerford, Felipe Suarez Chebajos Barreto, Elizabeth Keedy Whitcomb, Casio Vandenboon, Samir Alvarez Rincon, Hector Mendoza, Sarita de Bedut, Guillermo Cabrera, Gerardo Rivero Davila, Tomas Rocha Aguilar, Maria Paula Lovera Trujillo, Maria Teresa Acuña Cervantes, Marianne Budnick, Fernanda Alcazar, Catalina Valente Stein, Juliana Vargas, Maria Gutierrez Smith, Ellen Marie Trinkline, Ruby Kaufman, Jordan Ray Stein, Sarah Elizabeth Burke, Daniel Cho, Zach Scharf, Sahiba Sidhu Dule, Matthew Nathan Levy, Matt Alexander Lang, Matthew McCauley, Matthias Nikaj, Blake Jones, Ellen Barkley, Julia Bozerup, Rachel Marks, Yulu Lee, Kaylin Fu, Shui Ting Luo, Inge Zhang, Shang-Shi Guan, Patrick Harmon, Ramon Riva Perez, Rodrigo Gonzalez, Carlos David Trejo Tagle, Michael Abraham, Daniel Godoy Gomez, Agustin Valenzuela Diaz, Enrique Ignacio Fernandez Sierra, Jürgen Ullmann, Iker Garay, Christian Anfosi, Jose Miguel Erasuris, J.P. Jimenez, Cristobal Millard, Antonio Barroso. Luis Fernando Robledo. Ding Li. Stephen Yoon Wenderborn. Eugene T. Crystal Yu. Li Li. Rahul Bajpai. Anshita Mishra. Ricardo Daniel Alatorre Cantu. Gayatri Nair. Swati Agrawal. Ayaz Mateen. Vinita Reddy Akem. Venkata Ramya Ganti. Shaunak Ghosh. Manoj Gokula Valsam. Sunny Kumar. Christopher Thomas Payne. Najib Adim Jai. Meher Singh Chahal. Chris Morley. Morgan Alexa Franklin. Timothy Laroche. Monica Lano. Aram Asan. Kweku Amofa Frimpong. Folashade Omatoria Onadiji. Brittany Efwa Esiao. Brian Billups Jr. Kyra Anwi Atekwana. Dane Anton Christensen. Balaji Anand Bharati Ganesan. John Norman Clute Lyon. Samantha Alexandra Mardilla. Luis A. Gomez Lara. Jason Sean Lee. Keith DeJean Johnson. Marlano Lee Batson. Grant Kushner. Gianluca Camilli. Samer Dudar. Ibrahim Charles Mufarej. Francisco Moya. Kwame Amankwa Ose. Boom the Third Jr. Danielle Cohen. Dylan Hurwitz. YY Jidam Kim. Simon Eisman. Nicholas Paul Giovacchini. Jin Huan Sun. Joanne Guo. Yiran Huang. Mabel Xu. Sarika Asthana. Dev Raj Sharma. Madeline McIntyre Black. Jesse Hibble. Susie Pang. Rachel Suzanne Segi. Dana Fishbein. Leslie Glotzer. Spencer Lynn Pedersen, Diego Castellanos Izaza, Alexandra Friedman, Santiago Rivero Garcia Rojas, Badal Chaudhary, Ashwini Krishnamurthy, Chelsea Yvette Nacker, Lucine Galoyan, Ruby Vinitsky, Adam Rappaport, Hamad Rahman, Kwaku Konado Yedam, Mohsen Ihab Amiri, Carolyn Joyce Warren, Yirji Danielle, Austin O'Connor, Ariel Elul, Slava Noor, Alexander Thornton Wilds, Matthew Charles Matosian, Chris Hull, Daniel Donghuan Ku, Dennis Kyle Chen, Sarah Kathleen Elliott, Nicholas Luke Yaroshevitz, Eileen Nicole Gray, Jack Rocall, Jeremiah John McIntyre III, Rachel Lynn Roberts, Changhan Chao, Michelle Huang, Priscilla Shi, Anqi Zhang, Mengdi Shao, Yiru Fu, Xiao Ruo Gai, Sarah Xiong, Kailin Liu, Tianyi Zhou, Pedro Gutierrez Olarte, Sarah Ann Hill, Patrick Holbrook, Tabir Khan Memon, Aliza Mohammed, Henry Curtis, Stephen Edward Pushis, Matthew Goldstein, Kevin Wang, Albert Casteltort Mickelson, Sibo Kai Ding, T. Con Van Ha, Tuan Vo, Carly Zhao, Gary Chu, Nichari Nitipongwani, Beatriz Bautista de la Cruz,
Jiaan Angie Huang,
Jun Lo, Nikhil Sontalia, Sachin Mailavarapu, John Edward Banks III, Sean Reardon, Julian Isaac Luria, Francisco Ramon Martinez Lopez, Jennifer Louise Kalin, Matthew Ryan Fells, Annalise Mary McGrail, Bailey LaRae Breams, Menashe Sasson, Michael Koenig, Tony Yifeng Zhao, John Eldon Moran McDonough, Taro Yamanaka, Jack Luan, Sudha Han, Colleen Michelle Casey, Devyani Gupta, Paola Gisalberti Feito, Anne Tong, Elaine Zhang, Victoria Wong, Anvita Sinha, Jeannie Shu, Amita Prabhu, Lauren Elizabeth Beathy, Mukund Raghavan, Bhavna Patni, Ratna God, Krista Whalen, Kaylin Jean Coburna, Pakriti Pushkarna, Wilhelm Glaser Gallion, Alex T. Kazmierczak, Tyler Dean Rice, Andrew Christ, Abdelrahman Abdallah, Ashley Nicole Rogers, Albert Yu, Eric Chapman, Parvez Ahmed Garcia, Nicholas Reed Goosen, Sichi Zhao, Chi Chen Zhao, Jesse Chen, Omer Kaufman, Pedro Brolick Jr., Kelsey Brown, Pearl Tobey, Megan Janet, Spencer Kelly, Danielle Shu, Wendy Zena Wong, Lucy Zhu, Catherine Wu, Tiange Lei Choi, Brandon Matthew Lee, Christina Wong, Christine Michelle Bian, Jordan Leslie Glatt, Jennifer Kana Deutsch, Julie Doherty, Benjamin Loomis, Lida Wang, Brian Chan-Soo Kim, Dae Hyung Ji, Sienna Suyan Kang, Ji Hun Lee, Min Chan Kim, Jason Nong. Michael Wentz. Michael Allen Koss II. Emily Pines. Ryan David Hetherington. Lauren Elizabeth Fish. Theo Lim. Avnish Kumar. Swan Lee. Catherine Elaine Keller. Jennifer Suzakawa Tseng. Sophia Taylor Roman. Fariha Chowdhury. Victoria Mengxing Shao. Claire Elizabeth Pollock. Sarah Ruth Prasant. Twinkle Patel. Daniel Ritchie. Ethan Alexander Ardern. James Emerson Galone. Todd Charles Romanowski Wiener. Michael Daniel Praljak. Marco Lagone. Jose Ignacio Gil Soto. Cole Conrad. Kevin Daniel Alvarez. Warren Perumal. Matthew Glenn Krozik. Rudolph Carl Iberly. Andrew Paul Killian. Griffin Ray Korn. James Van Horn. Daniel Veldman. Jay Beda. Gaurav Dar. Jeremy Preston Julian. Philip Spitta. Amit Vider. Tess Glassman Kaufman. Andrew David Marione. Margaret Isabel Kaplan. Frank Temple Hundley IV. Theodore Reed Gannett. Frank Montana. Cicely Marreri. Whitney McElwain. Alana Muma. Veena Priya Krishnan. Emily Ann Fariga. Samuel Alexander Neal. William Steuben. Martin Armstrong. Doug Stewart. Santiago Vasquez. Lee Baccaris. Tai Chang. Frank Magyar. Emma Catherine Sloan. Audrey Marie Barnes. Grace Gu. Maya Menon. Michael Hyun-woo Lee. Pooja Jyothi Epanapali. James Ho-sun Kang, Jack Shu, Andrew Ma, Thomas Lian, Khan Avdan, Omar A. Taveras, Afan Udin Mian, Alec Sharam, Kyle Birmingham, Jenna Marie Stenger, Brennan Gregory McCormick, Joe Grubb, Brendan Grunwald Schmitz, Joseph Frederick Gammy, Emerson Theodore Wall, Ryan Lewis Lemoyne, Lucas McCormick, Chris DeVoe, Burke Alexander Sims, Dylan Remick, Augusta Ballou Clark, Craig Cassidy, Staten John Corwin, Juan Domingo Pagan, Alexandra Salgado, Marissa Deanne Feliciano, Luke Andrew Rasick, Andrea Byron Del Valle, Ellen Catherine Lesser, Brittany Michelle Coppola, Michael Alexander Katz Rubin, Morgan Arthur, Kelsey Lando,
Iona Muratai,
Kirsten Miller, Maud Timmermans, Haley Janice Opperman, Tyler Jacob Lopez, Alexander John Hennessy, William Hunter Matthews, Emily Colette Creedon, Alan Matushevitz, Daniel Holleran Harley, Dustin Rossi Haygood, Sofia Alejandra Araya Estivil, Maura Teresa Henry, Sophia Maria Guerriero, Hannah Audrey Sheffield, Mark Alexander Brewer, Matt Conan, Gwendolyn Faith Jenkins, Jaleesa Charmaine Gebhardt, Ariel Margalite Davis, Natalia Desai Kapani, Andrew Erickson, Hikaru Ihara, Ricardo Elaur Van Dyke, Lital Orlev, Gilad Caspi, Nir Levy, Mihir Singh Narayan, Charlotte Keys, Richard James Cornett, Ashley Somita Demond, Simi Kavthakar, Chetan Kumar, Amanda Schiff, Andrew William Austin, Flavia Castagnola Polorolo, Ronak Patel, Chuka Anyetje Effiong, Moyo Orekoya, Husna Elgama, Arsh Pandey, Dwani Chug, Ashna Singh, Christina Swin Flathers, Marie Kaur, Sebastian Rivas, Ishan Shramali, Diego Cardoza, Angel Daniel Sanchez Vasquez, Eric Bazan, Odette Salomon Bernedo, Preston Lee Worth, Philip Lane Carlitz, Jordan Ian Wolfart, David Cole, Kyle Sidney Spinks, Benjamin Smith Hellman, Stephen Joseph Schulman, John Robert Blix,
Christopher John Gorman,
Philip Ryan Mancini, Aras Amrish Shah, Rani Rahul Patel, Catherine Daly, Connor Hund, Matthew Connors Grayhack, Patrick William Casey, David Paul Hugmood, Sophia Van Dusen, Robert Van Dusen, Thanasri Mogulu, Rohit Nijawan, Enoch Chan, Yan Yue Liu, Hiroya Matsubara, Takashi Kobayashi, Kenji Mori, Yusuke Takigawa, Princewell Ohiku, Dean Kodilechukwu Anoje, Robert Alfredo Palacios, Patrick Webster, Edward Charles Watt, Anna Elizabeth Simmons, Eden Avriel, Joseph Begley Wegener, James Murphy Winford III, Ali Mahmood, Ryan Andrew Bear, Eric Aiden, Luis Fonseca, Jack Graney,
Jenna McCauley Manila,
Asher Mayerson, Elizabeth Lehman, Anirudh Ajith, Rohail Premji,
Is that one on monitor? Danya Shaw.
Joseph Ryan Wee, Monica Divya Majeti, Jennifer Yao, Thane Kulkarni, Maxwell H. Stayskull, Danilo Baptista Moscatelli Bovista, Daniel Araujo dos Santos, Gabriel Lopez, Ana Luisa Martins, Natalia Castro, Ana Beatriz Rejane Ribeiro Leche, Bruno Vergani Lavoca, Carlos Rezej, Ana Carolina Vasquez, Pedro Cavalcante Andrade, Carolina Carvalhos Gabrieli, Andrea Saccani, Alessandro Bondi, Ander Irureta Goyena, Oscar Bracho, Kene Ezoke,
Please rise for the singing of our alma mater.
Today we gladly sing the praise of God, whose daughters and whose sons are glory voices proudly raised. Let soaring confidence of all and of this fairest she, most wise for all that wise is me, most true of all that truth say. Yes, I dare you.
Please be seated.
This now concludes the formal Chicago Booth Diploma and hooding ceremony of the 534th convocation of the University of Chicago. I thank you for attending today's ceremony. And on behalf of the faculty and staff of the university and Chicago Booth, I extend best wishes to all graduates and their family and friends. And now to close, will our newest graduates please rise? Congratulations, you are all now graduates of the University of Chicago Booth School of Business. And because of your achievements that we celebrate today with your family and friends, each of you will always be connected to the University of Chicago a connection that I hope you and we will foster for many years. Thank you.